Good morning, everyone. So it's Friday today, and we're on to Chapter 10. Now, if you remember in Chapter 9, Mr. Fox had a plan. But what was his plan? Well, we made our predictions, didn't we? So shall we see if they come true? I wonder if my prediction will come true if Mr. Fox digs a tunnel to the supermarket and goes shopping. Probably not. But whatever happens, I'm sure Mr. Fox's plan is very cunning and clever. And it might just be the thing that saves his family. So, shall we find out what happens by reading Chapter 10? Chapter 10 Boggis's Chicken House Number 1. This time we must go in a very special direction, said Mr. Fox, pointing sideways and downward. So he and his 4 children started to dig once again. The work went much more slowly now, yet they kept at it with great courage, and little by little the tunnel began to grow. "Dad, I wish you would tell us where we are going," said one of the children. "I dare not do that," said Mr. Fox, "because this place I am hoping to get to is so marvellous that if I described it to you now, you would go crazy with excitement. And then, if we failed to get there, which is very possible, you would die of disappointment. I don't want to raise your hopes too much, my darlings." For a long time they kept on digging. For how long they did not know, because there were no days and no nights down there in the murky tunnel. But at last Mr. Fox gave the order to stop. "I think," he said, "we had better take a peek upstairs now and see where we are. I know where I want to be, but I can't possibly be sure we're anywhere near it." Slowly, wearily, the foxes began to slope the tunnel up towards the surface. Up and up it went, until suddenly they came to something hard above their heads and they couldn't go up any further. Mr. Fox reached up to examine this hard thing. "It's wood," he whispered, "wooden planks." "What does that mean, Dad?" "It means, unless I'm very much mistaken, that we are right underneath somebody's house," whispered Mr. Fox. "Be very quiet now while I take a peek." Carefully, Mr. Fox began pushing up one of the floorboards. The board creaked most terribly, and they all ducked down, waiting for something awful to happen. Nothing did. So Mr. Fox pushed up a second board, and then very, very cautiously, he poked his head up through the gap. He let out a shriek of excitement. "I've done it!" he yelled. "I've done it first time! I've done it! I've done it!" He pulled himself up through the gap in the floor and started prancing and dancing with joy. "Come on up," he sang out. "Come up and see where you are, my darlings. What a sight for a hungry fox! Hallelujah! Hooray! Hooray!" The 4 small foxes scrambled up out of the tunnel, and what a fantastic sight it was that now met their eyes. They were in a huge shed, and the whole place was teeming with chickens. There were white chickens and brown chickens and black chickens by the 1,000. "Boggis's Chicken House Number 1, cried Mr. Fox. "It's exactly what I was aiming at. I hit it slap in the middle. First time. Isn't that fantastic? And, if I may say so, rather clever." The small foxes went wild with excitement. They started running around in all directions, chasing the stupid chickens. "Wait!" ordered Mr. Fox. "Don't lose your heads. Stand back. Calm down. Let's do this properly. First of all, everyone have a drink of water." They all ran over to the chicken's drinking trough and lapped up the lovely cool water. Then Mr. Fox chose 3 of the plumpest hens, and with a clever flick of his jaws, he killed them instantly. "Back to the tunnel," he ordered. "Come on. No fooling around. The quicker you move, the quicker you shall have something to eat." One after another, they climbed down through the hole in the floor, and soon they were all standing once again in the dark tunnel. Mr. Fox reached up and pulled the floorboards back into place. He did this with great care. He did it so that no one could tell they had ever been moved. My son, he said, giving the 3 plump hens to the biggest of his 4 small children, run back with these to your mother. Tell her to prepare a feast. Tell her the rest of us will be along in a jiffy as soon as we've made a few other little arrangements. Okay, it's time for another quiz, and this time it's our quiz for Chapter 10. So I've followed the link that I'm sending you in your email this morning. I've put my email address here, remembering to spell it correctly or you won't get your score. It'll go to some weird random person instead. And what is your name? I've put my name here, Mr. Della. So, we're ready for the quiz? Let's click next. Okay, and today I've given you 8 questions to answer. Some of the questions are multiple choice and some you have to write a short answer. So what direction does Mr. Fox say to dig in? Well, have a look in the text. It's right at the beginning of the chapter that he tells you. Why doesn't Mr. Fox tell his children where they are going? So what do you think the reason is? We've got 2 choices here. Have a look in the text. It does tell you. Why didn't the foxes know how long they had been digging for? So I need a short answer from you there. Again, look in the text. Why did Mr. Fox order the children to dig upwards? Okay, this is probably the trickiest one. Have a look in the text. You'll have to use the clues to work out how Mr. Fox was feeling and why he asked them to dig up. What did the foxes find that told them they were under a house? So they found something, didn't they? And that told them, hey, we're under a house. What was it? Mr. Fox uses 2 adjectives to describe himself. What are they? Choose 2. How many are you going to choose? 2. So he describes himself as 2 of these things. Look in the text and find how he describes himself, not how other people describe him, not how the author describes him, how he describes himself. What is the first thing Mr. Fox tells his children to do when they get inside the chicken house? So have a look at the text. What does he tell them is the most important thing to do first? Why does Mr. Fox take great care to put the floorboards back perfectly? So he puts them back perfectly, doesn't he? Why? Giving you 3 choices for this one. Choose the right one. And who does Mr. Fox send back with the chickens? Which one of these 3 characters does he send back? I don't think it's himself. That would be weird. So, have a go at the quiz. See how you do. You've got, I think it's 80 points this time. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 points to play for. 90 out of 90. I think that deserves an emerald certificate. So just see how well you do today, and we're going to do some writing in a minute. Hello again, everyone. I've got a writing challenge for you today. Shall we have a look at it together? Okay, today is Friday the 10th of July, and our writing challenge is I can write a recount. Now, we wrote those quite recently, didn't we? A recount is when you talk about the things that have happened to you on a day or during a period of time. So it's all about stuff that's happened to you. Now, obviously, you're going to have to imagine you're a character to do this, and I want you to imagine you are that oldest fox, the one who was sent back with the chickens. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to write a recount of how you got to the chicken house, what you found when you got there, and how you got back safely. So, how are we going to do this? We're going to write in full sentences using capital letters and full stops. We're going to use statements and exclamations. We're going to use capital letters for proper nouns. We're going to use some interesting verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. We're going to extend our sentences with conjunctions. And most important, we're going to get across how the character was feeling. So, let's start, shall we? First, we have to dig. So, the first thing we had to do was dig a long tunnel. Okay, so it's digging the long tunnel. How long for? It was for ages, wasn't it? For what seemed like ages. We dug and dug and dug. But we didn't know where we were going. Now, Mr. Fox tells them to dig up, doesn't he? So, after, these are our adverbs of time, aren't they? After what felt like forever. Now, am I going to say Mr. Fox? No, because I am Mr. Fox's child, so I'm going to say Dad, aren't I? After what felt like forever, Dad asked us to dig upwards. Why? So he could see where we were. How are they feeling? Tired, aren't we? Right, let's think. We felt really tired, but we knew we had to keep digging for our lives. What tired little foxes we were. Okay. Now they get to the chicken house now, don't they? They find the wood, and Mr. Fox pokes his head through the ceiling and finds the chicken house. Okay. So, as we dug upwards, we bumped into some strong wood. Straight away, I knew we must have been under someone's house. A possessive apostrophe there. Which house? Oh, I think it's a question coming out. Which house were we under? Dad poked his nose through the floorboards to see where we were. Okay, so they're going to climb up now. So when? Immediately, right? Immediately we climbed through the floorboards. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was, what was it? Boggis's, belongs to Boggis, so we need a possessive apostrophe and a capital letter for his name. Chicken house. I think that's the title of the place, so we're going to give that capital letters too. It was Boggis's chicken house. I think that deserves an exclamation mark. We rushed around like maniacs, chasing the silly chickens. But Dad told us to calm down and have a drink of water instead. When we had calmed down, Dad told me to take the chickens and bring them home. I'm going to imagine he's speaking to his mum, to you, and prepare a feast. I don't know where they have gone now, but I hope they are safe. Right, let's go over it. And the first thing we had to do was dig a long tunnel. For what seemed like ages, we dug and dug and dug, but we didn't know where we were going. After what felt like forever, Dad asked us to dig upwards so he could see where we were. We felt really tired, but we knew we had to keep digging for our lives. What tired little foxes we were. As we dug upwards, we bumped into some strong wood. Straight away, I knew we must have been under someone's house. Which house were we under? Dad poked his nose through the floorboards to see where we were. Immediately, we climbed through the floorboards. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was Boggis's chicken house. We rushed around like maniacs chasing the silly chickens, but Dad told us to calm down and have a drink of water instead. When we had calmed down, Dad told me to take the chickens and bring them home to you and prepare a feast. I don't know where they've gone now, but I hope they are safe. Okay, so that's my recount as if I was the oldest fox. I've written in full sentences with capital letters and full stops. I've used statements, exclamations, and I even threw a question in for free. I've used capital letters for proper nouns. Remember Boggis's name? Use interesting verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Well, I think we've done that. Let's have a look. Interesting verbs and adjectives. We've got digging. Got some climbing. We've got bumping into the wood. We've got rushing here, rushed around like maniacs. Maniacs is a good adjective there. Sorry, like maniacs is a good adjective phrase. Silly chickens here. I think we could put a couple more in. Let's put a refreshing drink of water. And how about this? The hard floorboards. We might put some adverbs in as well. How long tunnel? What about an extremely long tunnel? An extremely long tunnel. We dug and dug and dug. How about this? They dug and dug and dug endlessly. That's an adverb. Felt really tired. We've got an adverb there. Climbed through the floorboards. Let's use an adjective to describe this. How about if they're like a little bit rotten? Rotten floorboards. This is Boggis's disgusting chicken house. Okay, I think we've done that. Extend sentences with conjunctions. I definitely use some conjunctions in my writing, wouldn't you agree? First thing we had to do what seemed like was dug and dug and dug, but, so, but. But here as well. And. But. So we have lots of conjunctions, and I think we've got across the feelings, don't you? They're tired, they're worried here, they're excited here when they see the chicken house, and there's still a little bit of worry of not knowing where Mr. Fox is at the end. So that's my recount. I'm going to give you this example for you to have a look at, and then I want you to write your own recount. Imagine you're that oldest fox. Write the recount of what you did, how you dug the tunnel, how you found the chicken house, and then how you brought the chickens back to Mrs. Fox. In a minute, we're going to try a spelling challenge. So have a go doing some writing, and then we'll do some spelling games later. Hello, everyone. It's time for our spelling challenge. And today, it's not one, but 2 spelling rules. Bonus. Let's have a look. We've got spelling rule 21. And that's the sound, spelt or, O-R, after a W. So it makes an noise. Let's have a look at the words. Word. Worm. Work. Old. World. And worth. So that's spelling rule number 21. Let's have a look, and just so we try and play a game with these words. There's only 5 words in this category. Let's play some spelling road hopper. I haven't played this one yet. Okay, I'm going to click on to play. Okay, no option to turn the sound off on this one.
Do you want the sentences read out loud?
Yes, please. I am ready to go. Thank you.
The bird ate a juicy worm.
Worm.
Delicious. Well, there's the sound option. Worm. Got it right. 10 spelling points. Amazing. Now I need to use, let's see. Okay, I need to use the arrows to move across the road. It's like Frogger, which is an old game from the past. Here we go. Yes, all going well so far. Oh, made it. Ah! Oh dear. Well, at least I got hit by an ambulance, I suppose. Time's up. Time for me to answer another question.
The brave pilot had flown all over the world.
World.
World, okay. Old world. Okay, I've got another go. Let's get across this road. Oh, there seems to be something blocking me. There we go. Oh, well, again, it was a school bus, so maybe I can get a lift to school. Oh, there's a bakery there. How exciting.
The surprise was worth waiting for.
Worth.
Worth. What? Check. Yes, 10 more spelling points. Shall I try and get to that bakery? I'm going to take this one quite slowly. Here we go. Bakery time. You can't go into the bakery. It's a little bit disappointing. Okay, I think you get the idea of this game. So you could try this game out or any of the other games to earn yourself some spelling points. You can also try all the spelling tiles activities and even a test when you're ready. Remember, finish the game so you get the points. Shall we have a look at spelling rule 22? Go year 2. Spelling rule 22. Okay, this is the or sound, spelt AR after a W. So or, war, w or warm. And towards, we have and w and or, towards. Only 3 words. So let's have a quick game with these words. I think I'm going to look for them in a word search. Let's hear the words again.
Towards. Warm. War.
Okay.
He ran towards the ball.
Towards.
Towards. Okay. Find the word towards. Oh, found it. Remember to drag
Towards.
2 spelling points.
It was warm in the classroom, so Mr. Bell opened the window.
Warm.
Warm. Okay, I'm looking for that w sound. What at wham. That's not the right word, is it? Worm? No, I don't think so. Not worm in the classroom. Imagine if there was a worm in the classroom. This one's tough. Can you see it? Found it. Warm.
Warm.
My granddad used to tell me about his time fighting in the war.
War.
We're looking for war. Oh, there it is. War.
War.
There we go. Got 6 spelling points. Not that many, but remember, there's only 3 words. Okay, so today's spelling challenge, Year 2 spelling, spelling rule 21 and spelling rule 22. Both of those spelling rules because there aren't that many words to learn. Well, that's our home learning for today. Have a lovely Friday and a lovely weekend, and remember to stay safe.